If you remember that song, then you remember Blaster Master, one of the most innovative 2D side-scrolling adventures on the Nintendo Entertainment System that also shifted into a top-down adventure mode with some challenging badass boss battles. Blaster Master is one of the most memorable games on the NES and one of my favorites. Released in 1988, the Blaster Master game cartridge was totally rad. There's no other word for it, and if you see the packaging artwork, you'll know what I mean. It makes TNC Surf Factory look subdued. You needed to wear jams to play Blaster Master, or any other game on the NES for that matter. And don't forget your Swatch guard, and all the excitement you could bang your Swatch against something. To hear me ramble on endlessly about how much I love Blaster Master, you can watch the classic Game Room review of the original Blaster Master on the Nintendo Entertainment System. This, however, is Blaster Master Overdrive for the Nintendo Wii, a reworked version of Blaster Master. The gameplay is pretty much identical, but does it have the same magic as the original? This is almost a remake of the original, but not exactly. The gameplay and the general objective of the game is pretty much identical. You're driving SOPHIA, your tank-like truck thing, through different levels, but you can't go to the next level until you've beaten an end boss and upgraded SOPHIA. After level 1, you get a grappling hook which turns it into the Bionic Commando, of all-terrain vehicle underground tank things. Now I can grapple and swing to level 2, which I previously could not get to. Later you increase your firepower and get the hovering power-up. The game has a wildly unbalanced difficulty level, just like the original. The overall side-scrolling part where you're driving around in your truck is not very difficult, but anytime that you get out of it, you're in severe danger because your little guy is extremely vulnerable. Especially underwater. The underwater scenes in this game were really hard. The battles in the caverns aren't too tough, but the boss battles become extremely challenging, just like the original Blaster Master. Not because they look like they'd be all that difficult. If you were flying like the Raiden fighter jet, you'd have no problem. But the guy in this game is so woefully underpowered and slow that the simplest boss battle actually becomes quite challenging. But as I said, that is also how the original game was. Well, I'll applaud them for making the game very similar to the original and definitely bringing it back, because Blaster Master is a very cool series that should see a revitalization. It feels like they could have thrown more into this game and made some wildly imaginative, creative environments. Even the original NES version has more interesting environments than this game. Also, there's no classic controller support, which is baffling considering it's a classic style game that you can download for the Nintendo Wii. I'm playing this with the standard Wii controller, which is not bad, but it's almost impossible to move your guy diagonally. And to strafe, you have to move your finger in a very awkward position to grab the B trigger under the Wii controller. And to top it all off, it's not widescreen. But you can save your game in certain caverns. That's quite handy. Because Blaster Master is not a game that you just play from point A to point B. You play from point A to point D, back to point B, over to point L, then back to C, and then somewhere else. Maybe you forgot to search some other cavern for something. It's not non-stop action. There's actually quite a bit of exploration and vehicle and person upgrading in Blaster Master. It's as though Sunsoft is testing the waters to see the interest in Blaster Master. Do we want to go further, revitalize the series, and put out a bigger release based on Blaster Master? I think they could have gone further with this game, but it's still fun, and packs sufficient frustration to remind me of the original. Because when you can't beat an end boss, you have to then backtrack and figure out what you missed. If there's any health increasing power-ups that you can feed your guy, because boy is he weak at the beginning of this game. For those who have never played the original, I'll recommend it if you like old-school NES 2D style games, where you memorize attack patterns and have to attack end bosses with extreme 2D precision. Those of us who remember the original might find it interesting just to see a reworked version. It's just that, in my opinion, it's too bad this doesn't have quite the pizzazz of some of the other fabulous re-releases that we've seen lately, because it could. But it's nice to see an old favorite revisited for a new game console. It packs some adventure, exploration, and definitely a challenge. Blaster Master Overdrive.